Hey, so I'm gonna go over in this video how to quit your job and start your own business. And I have 3 S's to kind of guide you how to do this. So these are the 3 S's to quitting your job and starting your own business. And I'm making these 3 S's as shorthand to help you get started. Just a little primer about me. I quit my job back in 2012 and I started my own business. By 2015, my business was doing over $1 million per year. And at this point in 2019, which is where we're at now, my business does roughly $500,000 per month. Last year, my business did around $5 million. So point being, you can do it. It's very possible. And I'm gonna show you the best way how. So the first S is save. When you're thinking about quitting your job and starting your own business, start saving, okay? You wanna hope for the best, of course, but prepare for the worst. Have you heard that line? Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Because the fact of the matter is, as an entrepreneur, income is like this, okay? When you're working a job, income is a steady line. You're always making that same amount of money per month. Now you can make far greater amounts of money as an entrepreneur, but it's still, you're gonna have high months and you're gonna have low months. And working for yourself is not consistent. Now, what I did when I started thinking about quitting my job, what happened was I went to ask my boss for a raise. It was June 2012. I had added an extra $100,000 a month in profitability to my boss's company. I was working directly under my boss at an ad agency. And I believed, okay, I added an extra $100,000 in profitability per month. It's probably a good time to ask for a raise, or some sort of incentive plan or bonus plan or equity plan or something, right? I asked for that raise and I remember, I justified everything. I laid everything out for him. I had spreadsheets, I had everything to justify my value to the company. And I remember him saying, his retort was, "Or what?" He just stared at me. And I was quiet, but I can tell you, I wanted to reach across the desk, freaking strangle that old man. It was so annoying. I'd added so much value. It was very annoying. And that's when I decided I need to start saving. So live frugally as possible and save as much money. The second S is strategize. Part of strategy for running your own business is you want to make at least 50% more than what you're making at your job, okay? Because once again, entrepreneurship has highs and lows and the tides can shift the amount of money you're making. I've gone from, in my business, making 6 figures, hundreds of thousands of dollars per month, to losing money in a single month. That's the difference a single month has made in my business, just because of changing business situations. So things can change very dramatically. Or if you're doing a business where you're very reliant on one client or one, marketing strategy or one sales strategy or, certain government law, things can change very quickly. So you want to strategize. And my rule of thumb is 1.5 times whatever you're making. If you're making $5,000 a month, you want to be making at least $7,500 a month on your own before you quit your job. If you are making $10,000 a month, you want to be making at least $15,000 a month on your own, because again, things are not as consistent. And if you couple that with saving, that's a really good situation to really allow yourself to be running your own business for the long term. Because what isn't a good situation is quitting your job. Something happens in your first couple months as an entrepreneur and you lose some of your income, and then having to go back to work 3 months later. And it happens all the time. It's because people didn't save, it's because people didn't strategize. So keep that in mind. When I was working my job, what I did was I was making $6,000 a month at my job. I didn't quit until I was making $10,000 a month on the side. Does that make sense? So outside of my job, outside of my 9-to-5 job, I was making $10,000 a month income, working mornings and nights basically. The way I did that was I was running an ad agency at the time, my own, I was freelancing, I was working at an ad agency and I was freelancing and managing Google AdWords accounts. And what I did was at nights, I went to places where I'd find these high-end clients who'd hire expensive freelancers. That's what I did, and I serviced their accounts at nights too. So I was constantly trying to do this and make this money so that I could quit. But again, I didn't quit until I was making quite a bit more than what my job was paying me. And that gave me that buffer zone. Third S Third S stands for start. And this is probably the most important thing. Is what's funny is after I decided I was going to quit my job, I actually decided that month, June 2012, after I had that horrible conversation with my boss where he said, or what? I had decided that I'm going to quit. Now, what's funny is there's so much paralysis. I was so scared to quit my job because I knew, in the back of my mind, and everybody wants you to work a job, right? And your friends, your family, you have coworkers. It's a big deal when you quit a job. There's a lot of things that go with it. And for months, I just let the decision linger. I was scared to actually do anything about it. But what you've got to do, it didn't change until I actually went to this Tony Robbins event called Unleash the Power Within. And this was in August, so a couple months later. And he does this thing called the Dickens process where he has you imagine what your life is going to be like. And you can do this right now, is imagine what your life is going to be like if you don't quit your job a year from now. Then imagine what your life is going to look like if you don't quit your job 5 years from now. And then imagine what your life is going to be like if you don't quit your job 25 years from now. It's a visualization exercise. And I did this and I realized my life is going to be nothing like what I want it to be. For me, it wasn't just quitting my job, it was just working a job, not being my own employer. And I realized I just needed to do it, and I could delay this decision. I could delay it for months, I could delay it for years. And it's very easy to delay quitting your job, but you got to do it at some time. And the thing was, just start. You figure stuff out, but you just have to start at some point. That's the hardest decision to make. But once I started, things fell into place. What's funny is after I quit my job, I went from making $6,000 a month in my job to after I quit, I was making $30,000 a month, working for myself. And I was 23 at the time. So once you really do it, things can fall in place. Just a little encouragement from me to you is if you're going at it from a good place, do it. You have to make that decision. You have to start somewhere. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed some of this information, and let me know in the comments what was the most helpful to you. Was it knowing to save? Was it knowing about strategizing 1.5 times, or was it just starting? And maybe a little story from me about how I got started and how long it took me. Let me know in the comments what was the most helpful to you. Like this video and subscribe to this channel if you want to learn more about how you can work remotely, how you can work for yourself, and also some giveaways. I do a business model called affiliate marketing, and I have more information on that, and I do giveaways about that sometimes, so make sure you subscribe.